Hi stamping friends, Jackie Bolhuis from Klompen Stampers. I have a fun card to share with you today using the Rooted in Nature. And this is one of those cards that I like to call, it's full of parts and pieces. There's just a lot of parts and pieces here that go together. So it may seem like it's a little more time consuming, but really it's still kind of quick and easy. We're using, like I said, the Rooted in Nature bundle. I've used this stamp set to death. I definitely feel this is one that if you purchase, you are going to use it for years and for so many different occasions because there's such a variety in it between the leaves, great words, the trees. It also comes, when you buy the bundle, you get the framelits that go with it. I don't have them all on the sheet here because I've pulled some off that I'm going to be showing you here in just a second. But if this is a stamp set that you're interested in, make sure you participate in my Stamps in the Mail this month. Okay, the deadline is the 10th, so you got to hurry. But when you purchase this stamp set and use my Stamps in the Mail host code this month, you're going to get a free card kit to make 6 cards. 3 different designs, 2 of each, plus a video with tips and tutorials, totally free. So if this is on your wish list, make sure you pick it up quickly. Now, we're going to dive into our parts and pieces because I want to talk about how I did a lot of these pieces and how with these dies you can do so many different things. What I did on this sheet here is I just wanted to show you all the different dies and how they coordinated with the stamps. Now, obviously there was the trees, okay, so I stamped them and I just cut them out with the dies. But what's really fun with the leaves, and this is what we're gonna focus on today, is you can stamp them and cut them out, or you can emboss them. There's embossing dies with them. And this is kind of a new thing we're starting to see more and more of, and I'm kind of falling in love with them. So we're going to talk about that today on our card. These 2 stamps don't have the embossing dies. They're just ones that you can stamp and go ahead and cut out. So that shows you how the dies and the stamps all work together. So let's just set that aside. And let's just dive into making our leaves on this one. Now you can see I've got the 3 here that, and if I hold it up, can you kind of see the texture going there? So these are not stamped at all. They're simply cut out and embossed with the dies. Now I'm going to bring this over here. I had this all set up and ready to go. Let's just take this off of here. But these are the embossing dies. So they're not going to cut. They're simply going to emboss those leaves. And this is where you want to use the brand new embossing pads. A lot of people have been asking about these and what they're for. Well, this is what they're for. And there's actually a whole bunch of other ways to use them as well. But when you're using dies that emboss, you're going to get a much better impression when you're using these. Now it comes with, and I don't know the technical term, this white pad. Okay, we're going to call it our embossing pad. And then 2 of these rubbery pieces. You can see one is a lot thinner than the other. Now, honestly, I've been kind of researching on what other people are saying. And you know me, I have to make it easy. Honestly, I don't know which one goes when to use it. And what I did is I played around with these leaves and I did the thin one, it worked okay, but when I did the thick one, it worked better. So I think it's really a matter of trying and seeing which one works the best when you go to emboss. So to emboss, we're going to use our platform. We're going to use this white embossing plate that comes with these embossing mats. Then we're going to stick on, in this case, I'm using the thick one. And then our cardstock with our embossing dies. Now these are just little scraps because I'm going to be cutting these out. We'll put this one there and I can really run them all through at the same time. And then on top of that, we're going to put our clear plastic plate. Now notice this plate's not all cut up and it's not all warped and looks pretty nice. This is one that I save just for embossing. So it never gets bad and it's always nice and flat. So we're gonna put that on top and I'm gonna go run that through the Big Shot. There we go. So we can take this apart. There's some static. Everything likes to stick together here. And you will see on my scraps how we have a nice embossed image on there. Now you could just use this on a background of a card. They don't have to necessarily be cut out, but for the card that we're making today, we're gonna cut them out. Now I did read someplace where someone recommended that you cut first and then emboss because when we go and cut this, it's going to press down that embossing a little bit. I played around and I didn't think it made that much of a difference. So to me, I felt it was easier to emboss and then cut. So I guess it's kind of a personal preference. So these fit on here just as if they were stamped. So we can line them up, and again, we can do all three at one time. Now, I am using the magnetic platform underneath my cutting plate. You'll see this cutting plate's cut up a little bit. If you want to, sometimes with, to keep them exactly where you want them, they want to jump around a little bit. I like to just use a little piece of washi tape. It holds them exactly where I want them. There we go. And then again, I use a plate that I haven't gotten all cut up on top of that, because then this one will stay nice and flat. And now we'll go run this through the Big Shot. There we go. So we can go ahead and take this off, and that washi tape, you can reuse that. It'll keep it stick for a while. But we'll take each piece apart here. And now you can see our leaves got this nice embossed image on it. And like I said, I don't think it really flattens out, especially since I used that thicker embossing mat. The embossing was so deep on it. So there are my 3 leaves. Like I said, we're just doing lots of parts and pieces, and then we'll put together our card. So scrap here of cardstock of Whisper White, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're going to just stamp some leaves. That's kind of, I love the texture you can get with the stamp set, because you can have some that are stamped and cut out, and then you can have ones that are just the colored cardstock that are embossed and have all that great texture. So let's see. Mint macaron. Oh, we have crushed curry there. Mint macaron, and we'll stamp that one. And so once again, now I can cut all 3 of these at the same time when they're on my scrap like that. So we'll do the same thing. We're going to take magnetic, can't talk today, platform. We'll stick this on here, and then we will take our dies. And again, you can use the washi tape. I'm just reusing this piece. And we'll go ahead, we'll line that one up right there. And then we'll grab our other 2 dies. There we go. Put our other plate on top, and let's go cut these out. Okay, so once again, we're just building our parts and pieces for our card. We'll just pop the stamped ones out of there, and we'll set that aside. You should see my table here. I've got such a mess trying to do all these parts and pieces for you. Now, let's take a look at our card. What else do we need? Okay, next we're going to go ahead and do our slice of wood. Now, to make this look a little bit more realistic, I inked it up in soft suede, and then I'm going to stamp on scrap paper to make it a little bit lighter. Then I've got my early espresso marker here, and I am just running this along the edge, and that will make the bark or the outer part of the tree there look a little bit darker for you, just to give it a little bit more depth. And then we'll stamp onto a piece of scrap Whisper White. And then sadly, there's no die for this one, but it is super easy to cut out. So we're just going to use our scissors and go around the edge. There we go. And then I didn't like kind of the white edge around it, so I just took a sponge. I take my sponges and cut them into small pieces, and I dabbed it in that soft suede, and we just run it along the edge here. That kind of takes that white away. There we go on that. We'll add that to our pile of parts and pieces. Now, as long as we've got our soft suede out, let's go ahead and do our greeting on there. I just have a piece that is 4 inches by 1 inch. We're gonna use soft suede. And I grabbed the greeting from Friendly Expressions. I love the fonts on here, and I love how they mixed them up. And I thought, for the card I was making, this life is tough, but so are you worked perfect. So we're going to go ahead and ink that up, and it should fit really nice on that 1 inch piece. Let's see here. We can get it somewhat straight. There we go. We'll add that to our pile over here. The next thing we're going to do is go ahead and emboss a piece using our pine planks, wood planks, I believe it's called, embossing folder. So I have a piece of cardstock here that is actually a 1/4 sheet. So it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now I will cut it down, but I'm going to wait until after I emboss it. The thing with these thicker embossing plates like this, I feel like the cardstock seems to shrink up quite a bit, and then my size isn't exactly how I want it. So I like to start out a little bit big. We're using our platform and then just one plastic plate. And again, here's that one that's not cut up, so it works so nice. We'll go run that through the Big Shot. There we go. Now, like I said, this one did start out a little bit bigger than I needed. So what I'll do is after I've embossed it, I'm gonna go ahead and grab my cutter, and I know I want it to be 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, 1/4 inch bigger. So when I put it on my piece of cardstock, it doesn't cover the whole front. So that's just a little tip, especially with these really thick embossing folders, because your paper does shrink a little bit. Now for our card base, I am using the Whisper White Thick. Whenever my card base is white, I like to use the thick. It just gives a little bit more stability to it than our regular Whisper White. But make sure when you use the thick that you do score it before you fold it, because it's a little bit more difficult to get a nice fold. So I've scored on this side. That means like the little ridge is sticking up on that side. You want to fold it with that ridge to the inside. So go ahead and fold it, and then I even use my bone folder. This stuff's pretty thick, so to get a nice crisp edge, you're gonna wanna score and use that bone folder. And I think we have all of our parts and pieces. So let's go ahead and just build our card. So our wood planks piece there, and then first we're going to take our little slice of wood, and we'll stick that on there. And then of course we're going to use lots of dimensionals. I always laugh and call this my my Stampin' Crack. Okay, I think I have these on almost every order I place, because heaven forbid you never want to run out of these. We're going to put 3 of them on our little greeting there. Peel those off. And then we're going to stick this across, but I'm not going to go right across the center because I want that little bit more of that wood sticking out on the top part there. So we'll go ahead and put it like so, and then we're going to just start building with our leaves. So we'll take our stamped one. Again, like I said, we're using lots of dimensionals. So we'll just stick that one like so, and then our cherry cobbler embossed and cut out one. We can stick that one over here. And then this one was just stamped in crushed curry and cut out. So we'll go ahead and we'll stick that one in there. And let's see, we'll go ahead with the crushed curry embossed and cut. See, I like stamp sets like this and creating cards like this where you can just go ahead, make all your parts and pieces, and then just play around putting them together. So this one is Cajun Craze. So we'll go ahead and bring that one over there. And then this little guy, I think we need a mini dimensional. With the mini dimensionals, I like to use my piercing tool to pick it up with because they're just so tiny, they're hard to grab. And we'll stick one right there. And then we can go ahead and kind of stick that underneath. So there we've built that part of it. Next we're going to take linen thread. If you guys follow me at all, which by the way, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you do. There should be a button down there on the bottom. I try really hard to make 3 videos a week for you. I am known as the quick and easy stamper. This card is probably taking me longer than any other card I usually make, simply because there's all these parts and pieces, but it's a simple card and that's what it's all about. So I like to take the linen thread and double it, okay? And then because it has these little kinks in it, I just go ahead and I run my fingers across it a few times like this. That'll help get those kinks out of it. And then I find tying bows always works better upside down. So I'm going to wrap this around, and to me, it's always a little bit easier to tie a knot first. So I wrap it around. I'm going to hold my finger there, just, like how we wrap presents, and go ahead and tie a knot. And then, now remember, the stamp set, like I said at the beginning, purchase this by the 10th, and you're going to get the free card kit along with tutorials for 3 projects, plus I have 10 bonus tutorials. So you're going to actually get ideas to make 13 different cards with it, and that's only the beginning. I've already posted quite a few with it, and check the information in the video because I'll lead you to a whole bunch more cards. Oops, that didn't cut very good. Using the set. It is probably one of the most versatile, and it's masculine. And I know we all struggle with masculine. So there we go. There's the front of it. It is ready to go on our thick. Okay, we put it right there. And then make sure you stamp the inside. I just stamped a few of the leaves in there along with the thinking of you that I thought went really well with our life is tough saying. And then the last thing I want to remind you, don't forget to stamp your envelope. We don't want to be sending any naked envelopes, as I like to call them. So let's just go ahead. We already have cherry cobbler on here. So why don't we stamp a couple cherry cobbler leaves on there, and then we'll go ahead and do a couple of these. Okay, just kind of make it a little bit more fun when someone gets that in the mailbox. So there is our envelope, and there is your card. So I hope you like this project. Like I said, Rooted in Nature is such a versatile stamp set. Make sure you check the information so that you can see a lot of the other cards I've made, because there's such variety. You can get so many different looks with it. So thanks guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. Don't forget stamps in the mail. You have till the 10th to place an order using the stamps in the mail host code so that you can get your free card kit and all the free tutorials as well. And as always, if you're looking for a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you don't have one that's already sent you a catalog, I would love to do that. Leave me a comment, send me an email, let me know you'd like a catalog and I'll send it to you. And I'm also here to answer all your stamping questions. Stampin' Up! Is my full-time job. I've been doing this for almost 24 years now. My passion is teaching you to make quick and easy cards. So let me know if you have questions or anything I can help you with. So until we stamp again, have a stamp happy day.